then headed back to the front desk and handed his coveralls through the slot. "You set?" asked the guard who was escorting him. "Been ready to get out of this hellhole for 2 years. "Good. Don't let me see your ugly mug in here again." Keeping a firm hand on Kieran's upper arm, the officer led him down another hallway and through 2 more locked doors before pointing him to his final exit. It was a plain set of solid double doors, with slivers of sunshine sneaking through the cracks around all 4 edges. Kieran's hand paused on the prison door handle for only a moment before pushing down and out. Swallowing his nerves, he stepped into the sun and immediately shielded his eyes from the light. Until now, he had been allowed only 1 short visit per day to the prison yard, which was a small section of land mostly shaded by the building itself. Now, feeling the wind gently brushing over his skin, not obscured by high walls, his chest ached for all he'd missed. Acutely alert to the sounds and smells he'd been missing these last 2 years, he walked down a concrete path leading toward the 20-foot-high metal fencing that surrounded the prison. Birds chirping, the roar of diesel engines, and the smell of exhaust mixing with spring air hit him. All once so familiar, they now overloaded his senses. Guards in the tower watched him make his exit along the concrete path. As he tried to acclimate to the bright sun and the feeling of being free, he decided this was it. Taking stock of everything around him one final time, he promised himself he would never set foot here again. He was determined. He was going to follow the rules, and he would make damn sure this part of his life was over for good. "Kieran!" Snapping out of his thoughts, he saw a tiny older woman jumping up and down, waving at him, her dark red hair a halo around her expressive face. He'd know that vibrant hair and bright grin anywhere. His mother, Deidre D. Kavanagh. Speeding up his stride, he arrived at the gate on the edge of the prison property just as it buzzed and opened for him. Seeing his mother with a big smile on her face was everything he'd hoped for, and he spread his arms wide for her. She had visited him every other weekend in the federal prison and had kept him up to date on life back home, but they'd never been allowed more than 1 quick, supervised hug goodbye each time. "Good to see you too, Ma." "I've missed you so much, Kieran. A boy shouldn't be away from his mama this long." She sniffed, let go, and then stepped back. He smiled at her and affectionately cupped her face, wiping away the tears. She looked older than he remembered, and definitely more stressed. Wrinkles lined her forehead, and the corners of her eyes were lined with creases he'd never seen before. Guilt bit at him as he wondered if he was to blame for how much she'd aged in the last 2 years. "All right, Ma, stop hogging him." Kieran finally noticed that 2 of his brothers were standing next to the car behind them. His younger brother, Quinn, pushed his jet-black hair out of his eyes and walked up first and shook Kieran's hand, bumping their shoulders together and clapping him on the back. "It's good to see you, Quinn," Kieran greeted his brother. "About fucking time," Quinn said as they pulled apart. Despite Quinn's friendly smile, he seemed stiff, maybe intimidated, like he barely recognized him. Kieran felt the same way, since Quinn had definitely added more tattoos to his lean, athletic body since he'd last seen him. "I'm not a mirror, you know." Another familiar voice called out as his twin approached, grinning widely. Their blue eyes mimicked each other under the fluffy, short brown hair they both shared, even though Kane's was a bit longer than his at the moment. Kieran grinned at his twin brother. "Kane, you've gotten smaller." "Fuck that. You got gigantic. What the hell were you doing in there?" Kane sounded a little bitter at the discrepancy between them as they hugged. This was what he needed, his other half. Their bond was more than brothers. No one else could make him feel at peace the way his twin did. He and Kane were identical twins, though Kieran was older by a few minutes, and he never let Kane forget that. Their family members could tell them apart, but most others couldn't. The size difference between them would make that a lot easier now. Although, knowing Kane, he'd probably hit the gym extra hard in an attempt to close that gap. "Maybe I should have you training me instead of Rory. I think you might be bigger than him now," Kane said over his shoulder as he led the way.